Welcome, Virgo and Virgo cross watchers, to your love reading. So, thank you for stopping by on my channel. Woo! Thank you for stopping by my channel today. I hope everyone's having a great week. So, of course, as always, please take this as it resonates and always use your intuition when making decisions about your life, because this is a general reading. Sorry. And cross watchers, you're welcome to flip your roles if that resonates better with you. Ah. Oh, for heaven's sake, motherfucker. Okay. I'll make sure everything's right side up. Okay. So, we're going to get one card on your end here. Okay, so where's the Three of Swords coming from? Because, Virgo, your person has the Ace of Pentacles, which is like, mwah. You have the Fool, also new beginning. But the situation between the two of you is the Three of Swords. Oh, shit. Wait a second. Hold on for a second. Virgo, I feel like you seem to have dodged a bullet here. I feel like it's almost like you may have felt that you were about to start a relationship or a connection with this person. And I feel like you seem to, it's almost like someone may have saw them out somewhere with somebody else. And I feel like you hightailed it out of there. You know what I mean? It's almost like you find out that they're already freaking involved with somebody else, and it's like hard no, no thank you, I'm out. And it's not an angry or vindictive or any of that stuff. It's just you're out. It's like, and for that reason, Virgo's out. I think we're gonna get a clarifier for this. Let me get a clarifier on Virgo's end. Virgo, I think you knew that something was up. Maybe you didn't know all of the, just making sure the deck is still right that up. Maybe you didn't know all of the gory details, right? But it's like, oh, one moment, please. Sorry about that, Virgo. So, I apologize if I repeat myself, but I feel like you may have had an inkling that something was going on. Maybe you didn't know quite what it was, and I feel like it's almost like you were just waiting for the piece of information so you could cut and run. And it's not a, you're skipping out on your responsibilities or something like that. It feels more that it's like you knew that something was really off. And I feel like it, not that it was a relief when you found out, but it's like now that it feels like once you felt you had all the information, you felt in control again. And not in control of the situation, but in control of your own life. Because it's almost like you knew that something wasn't quite right, and it's almost like you couldn't make a decision because you didn't have all the information. And then you get the information and like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? So what about between this person and the Three of Swords? Like, don't know how else to say it. Couldn't say it any better than that with this Seven of Cups here. Seven of Cups talks about having a lot of options, or, you know, how do I say this delicately without sounding like a sarcastic jerk? It's the energy of somebody that it's like they have the shiny object syndrome. And I feel to a certain extent, hold on for a second. that this person seemed to make a jump towards someone. It's almost like that there was some unknown about. It's like they wanted somebody that was, hold on for a second. It's like that would kind of fit the spot that they had available rather than somebody that they would have needed to make accommodations for. So, all of that to say, they wanted somebody that was going to be, I know this word has a real bad connotation. They wanted somebody that would be easy. Now, that's not to say this person is easy, when it comes to that sort of thing. It just feels like this person was really easy, really agreeable, um, just kind of go with the flow. And I feel like you had your own dreams, your own goals that you were pursuing. And that's not to say you didn't support them, but I feel like this person kind of wanted someone that would be focused more on them rather than focused on like the mutual relationship while also focusing on their own goals. You know what I mean? It's like they wanted somebody that was going to be all about them. So, what is Virgo thinking? What's in Virgo's headspace? Nine of Cups. Look at this. Nine of Cups, Three of Swords, Three of Swords. Oh my gosh. Okay. So Virgo, obviously the Nine of Cups talks about having emotional fulfillment within yourself. And I actually feel that, I want to say strangely enough, but it may not be strange to you. It's like strangely enough, even though you kind of got, something a little bit funny happened here, I actually feel that you seem to feel pity or like kind of bad for this person. And let me explain that a little. Um, because I feel like it's almost like you're looking at it like, what kind of an existence must it be to feel that you need another person to make you whole? You know what I mean? It's almost like you feel that would, to you, it would feel like handing your power over to somebody else. It would feel very disempowering. So I feel like you're kind of looking at the situation like, not only, did this person kind of do you a favor, but I feel like you start to see that even if, even if this person had chosen you, I feel like you actually see that it would have eventually ended, that you would have actually ended up leaving this person behind because it's like you're kind of, for example, going to that, the wolf on the wolf at the top of the hill is never as hungry as the wolf climbing the hill. And I feel like you seem to be in an energy where you want to be climbing that hill. And I feel like this person, it's almost like they made it up to a certain point on the hill and now they're good. They just kind of want to coast. That's as far as they want to go. And that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, no judgment to this person. But you seem to want more than they do in that way. I feel like it's almost like there's a bit of a thirst for knowledge here on your end. And I feel like you actually seem to be in an energy where you're not about to let, relationships or I want to say like small-minded people, but let's soften that a little bit. Like you're not about to let relationships or people who have, who aren't going to, don't have as many plans as you. No, that's not right. I think you know what I mean. You're not about to let relationships or feeling like, if other people want different things in life, feeling like you have to somehow dull your shine just to have them in your life, right? It's like you're just going to keep moving forward. So, what's Virgo's person thinking? What's Virgo's person thinking? Wow. So we do have the Page of Swords at the bottom of the deck, and then we have the Six of Pentacles with the World. So the Six of Pentacles talks about things kind of coming into balance. And in this deck specifically, it actually refers to, um, there's loves of the past and loves of the future, but there's only one love of today, and it must not be ignored. And I feel to a certain extent that this person, don't be mad, they actually seem to feel that you got what you deserve because you ignored them. Ugh. They seem to feel that it's like that's the truth. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? For me as a reader, the Page of Swords means the cold hard truth. And then there was the Six of Swords underneath that, which talks about kind of getting out of that choppy water sort of thing. But I just feel like this person seemed to think that if you're not going to give them what they want, then of course they should be able to go off and find what they want, right? But I feel like there's something a little bit here that they were trying to stick it to you in some type of way. I feel like this may be somebody that tried to make you feel like you weren't as physically attractive or good looking or, as desirable as other people. I feel like this person may have at times, um, it's almost like if they had this other person in the queue, so to speak, I feel like there may have been times where it's like they would have said, like, oh, I wish your waist was smaller, or you would kind of dress differently. And it's almost like they would low key compare you to this person and be like, oh, I wish that you had this type of thing about that person. And it actually feels like they were just trying to get some digs in on their way out the door, which is a real crap thing to do, right? And I feel like they actually are kind of hoping or getting some sort of satisfaction out of thinking that you're kind of pining for them, that you're hoping that they would come back. Sorry, one moment. Sorry about that. Um, so back to the cards. It was just kind of, it feels like it's like they seem to have a little bit of delight or, kind of like giddiness, butterflies in their stomach, thinking that you might still be waiting for them. Ah, ah, I don't, I'm so uncomfortable with that. So I apologize if that has, I feel like you don't care. I understand that maybe you don't. I'm uncomfortable with it though. So I think we're going to, what's in Virgo's heart space? What are they feeling? Whoa. Okay. So the Five of Wands, of course, talks about a lot of conflict, people not working together. In this deck, actually, though, it talks about um, kind of like doing things that got two people together and feeling like it's almost like always a bridesmaid, never a bride sort of thing. Of course, please, change that for um, your gender. But I feel like to a certain extent, Virgo, I feel like you're on your way to kind of building your pentacle sort of thing. Um, but it does feel, it's like there's a touch here of feeling like you don't, um, I feel like there's some insecurity that you may be, hold on for a second. I think sometimes you get a little bit worried that like you may be throwing away chances at love or to pursue this other thing or your career or whatever, pentacles, I guess. And I feel like there's a message here. Um, Let me ask you a question instead of telling you something. Would it be reasonable to assume that if you are someone that's really driven and you have goals, would you really want somebody that would pull you away from those goals so that you would focus on them rather than supporting your goals and being willing to sacrifice so that both of you could achieve what you want? Like maybe you feel like you're throwing away chances at love, but are these people that you would really want long term? Or would you feel like you're Like sometimes when we get into a situation where we're around people that don't want to push as hard as we do, um, there becomes a lot of like unrest, and that doesn't mean that there's arguing and fighting and na 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 na. It means that like there's a like the thing unevenly yoked, so it's like it's not balanced, and I feel like I almost feel like I need to encourage you to keep moving forward because it's like if you have these goals in mind, um, would it make sense to you that there would be somebody else out there that's also had to deal with people that don't want as much as they do? And it's like, and if that's the case, imagine being with somebody that is as driven and as hardworking as you. What kind of a power couple the two of you would be? So it's almost like if you're feeling, it doesn't feel like it's a huge thing. It doesn't feel like it stops you, but it does feel like it kind of nags you from time to time. So I feel like there's just a message here to remind yourself that in the same way that you have a really high standard for what you want to achieve when it comes to pentacles, you are allowed to have a really high standard for the kind of person that you're going to build your life with. That's a big freaking deal, man. Like finding somebody that you're going to build a life with, that's like a life partner that the two of you really do need to be on the same page. Also, this person seems kind of like a, yeah, trying not to swear as much anymore, but they're kind of a DOUCHE or the bag used to do. You know what I mean? Let me check my attitude for a second. Okay. So Virgo's actions or intentions. Virgo's actions or intentions. I really feel like you're gonna leave this person in the dust. But Nine of Wands. So we have the Knight of Cups and then the Nine of Wands here. The Nine of Wands talks about that kind of wounded warrior. And I actually feel like you seem to look at this situation as like another reason to push you into. Sorry, one moment, please. Sorry about that, Virgo. So, with this Nine of Wands here, and I do apologize if I repeat myself, um, it's the energy of that wounded warrior, and I feel like you have zero intention of letting this situation deter you. I feel like you are. It's like if you're not going to get what you need out of this situation, um, it's like, well, you'll give it to your freaking self. You know what I mean? It's almost like you're kind of. It feels like you were in a situation where you didn't get what you wanted, and I feel like you're almost stomping away defiantly, like, well, if that's not going to work out, I'll just do it myself. And it's not a you're a one man band sort of thing, or a self righteous. It's more that whatever goal that you have, it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? It's like you're not letting anything get between you and what you want, and that's that. I also want to say that whatever happened between you and this person here, I feel like it seems from your perspective that you've learned a very valuable lesson here um, about, it's like, I'm not trying to be mean to this person, okay? But if somebody comes in with a sob story and it's like, and they try to be like, oh, well, my life's this way because of this person or that person. And it's like they start blaming everybody else in their life and they act like, oh, woe is me, that they're some sort of victim. I feel like the wisdom you've gained here is it's like if someone comes in with that energy, you're going to be looking at the situation like, well, it's like what's the common variable in all of those situations with all of those people that this person's complaining about, right? It's like, I feel like
to a certain extent. I feel like you won't be giving people the benefit of the doubt the way that you have. I feel like it's almost like you're going to have to see exactly what you need or what you're looking for out of people. It's like there's no more compromises for Virgo. And not that you wouldn't compromise within a relationship, but you're not going to compromise on what you want from the people that you plan to surround yourself with. Doesn't feel like it's got anything to, that you are in any way focused on this person. So what's this person feeling? Ooh. Before we flip this, I'm kind of getting an energy of this person half expects you to come back. Six of Swords. That was at the bottom of the deck earlier, right? And here's the Lovers, another card of 3, just one too many people. So I feel like this person, I just kind of want to, I don't want to say this, but I'm gonna. It's that I don't want to say these words out loud. I don't really like it. I feel that this person seems to think that you're going to go sort yourself out. And when you, fix yourself, sort yourself out, you'll be back. You know what I mean? That seems to be what they are looking at here. They seem to feel that like, oh, well, Virgos they just kind of have themselves all tied up in knots. And when they're free of the ties that bind, they'll be back. And I feel like they're enjoying the company of somebody in the meantime. Between Ace of Pentacles and the Six of Swords. It actually feels like this person, they can't fathom like even a multiverse or the universe that, or like in the whole universe, that you would be walking away from them for good. I feel like they seem to think that you're going to go, hold on for a second. They really think you're coming back around. They think the two of you will eventually be able to work this out. Certainly not what I'm seeing from your perspective, but that's how they're feeling, man. Why? Six of Cups. Because of the history between the two of you. And also, which I don't really like, they seem to feel that you feel the same way about them. Hold on for a second. If in the past, not that you were in a chasing energy, but you were in an energy where you really put a lot of importance into this relationship. And so for somebody like you that really goes after what they want, it's like you really put a lot of energy into it because it was something that was important to you. And so I feel like it might have gotten to this person's head. It's like their head got a little bit big. You know what I mean? I feel like they seem to think that you're going to come back around and start putting some work in. And that you're just you're looking through photos. It's like when Virgo settles down, they'll start missing me. They'll start looking through photos and they'll be back. And I'm like, no. There may be times where you are reminiscing, but whatever's happened here, it's like it's either the final straw. For some of you, it could be the first and final. You know what I mean? It may not be a situation that dragged out. It may not. But whatever has happened with you recently, you've changed. And this is no longer a dynamic. It's like you're just not going to be sitting around allowing somebody else's arrogance and conceited energy to be holding you back. It's almost like they would, if you were putting energy into your goals, they'd be jealous that you were spending time, on a project or school or a hobby or something, right? It's like they felt that you should be more focused on them. This person's actions or intentions. Four Cups. So I feel like this person, this is what I'm seeing happen. They seem to feel like, oh, I'm just going to let Virgos stew in their own juices. Like, can I just take a break here for a second? The audacity of this person to think that they're just going to sit there and you're going to, sort yourself. Like, excuse me. Sorry. That just had to come out. So we have the Four of Cups here as their actions or intentions. And I feel like they kind of intend to let you, stew in your own juices with this Ten of Swords. And I feel like they seem to think that like you're going to be talking about them, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. And it's like they seem to they'll be in that energy where it's like they feel somehow that they're punishing you, a punishment that you kind of have coming. Not that you do, but just that they kind of feel like, well, Virgo, didn't give me what I wanted, and so now I'm gonna, act up, misbehave. I mean, it obviously feels like it's something bigger than, misbehaving, but you know what I mean. And I feel like all of a sudden one day they're gonna get that the fact that you haven't come back means you're not coming. It's like they're going to get some sort of information from someone that makes them realize that you have moved on. And not like, oh, you just have moved away from them. No, you've moved away from that whole kind of deal. I feel like you've moved into an energy where, sorry, my cheek was itchy. I know I just hit the mic, so I apologize if that was loud. I feel like they're about to see that whatever they thought the two of you had, you didn't. At least not anymore. And I feel like it's actually kind of a mixed bag of their energy, right? It's almost like I see them outside of one of those like chain link fence and they see you with somebody. And I feel like, to this person's credit, okay, I feel like they actually seem to be really happy for you. I feel like in that moment, it's like they kind of get it. You know what I mean? I feel like they get that it almost feels like a bit of a relief for them. And not because they didn't want you or anything like that, but it's like, I feel that on some level, this person always knew that this wasn't, you know what I mean? That the two of you were unevenly yoked, but it's like, I want to say like you were, I'll just say it. You were such a catch to them that like, of course, they're not going to say no. And so I feel like they seem to be really happy that you've moved on with someone that seems to make you happy. And I feel like it actually feels like when they see you, it's almost like they're able, like that's some closure for them, that they know that like you're good, you're going to be okay. I do feel to a certain extent that like people might try to, that kind of like about you. Sorry, I didn't mean to shake my table. Somebody pulls that garbage around this person and it's like one look from them and that person's going to shut up. I'm seeing 11 there. But I just feel like this person, because of the kind of experience it was, and that this transformed them to a certain extent as well. I don't know how we kind of skipped over that transformation for them, but this is where we're at. I'll circle back. I feel like they seem to have a lot of pride in you. It's almost like they're able to be like, oh yeah, I dated Virgo. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know what I mean? It's like they seem to, it's like a feather in their cap and not like a notch on their bedpost. It's a feather in their cap. It's not about the physical sort of thing with this person. And I feel like if somebody tries to cheapen the connection that the two of you had, this one's going to make it real clear. It's like they would shoot daggers out of their eyes if they could. Because I don't feel that they are going to let people talk anything, like talk any garbage about you. So Wait a second. What does Virgo need to know about that transformation? So we have the Knave or the Page of Pentacles, and we have the Two of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Okay. Here we go. The Page of Pentacles, or sorry, the Page of Pentacles, Page of Cups talks about, you know, very sweet feelings or an apology, a really loving note or letter. In this deck specifically, it talks about jealousy. And I feel that you may not know this, but I feel like even when you were in a relationship with this person, they had some crazy butt jealousy. I'm trying not to swear anymore. To a certain extent, right? I'm still gonna let a couple out. Anyway, I feel like your person, it's almost like they may have seen, because they knew the whole time that the two of you were unevenly yoked, I feel like it may have felt to them that there was a lot of pressure for them to keep this relationship. It's almost like I feel like either their family or they themselves thought, felt, whatever, their perception was that you were out of their league. And so I feel like there was a lot of pressure on your person to perform. And I feel like because of that, it's like that's where this bit of like feeling of inferiority seemed to come from. And I feel like them having this kind of crappy energy where it's like they feel like they're just going to punish you or whatever, like the cards were talking about before. I actually feel like it's coming from resentment that stems from this person feeling like they're not good enough. It's almost like they were standing there like, why am I not good enough? What, you know what I mean? It's almost like if people were always comparing your person to you and they always came up short, I feel like your person's kind of looking at the situation like, why is it that that's always the case? Why am I always the one that somehow falls short? Why is Virgo so much better than me in everybody's eyes? And I feel like they may have taken out that the frustration, or sorry, I feel like that may have led to some resentment from them towards you and the seeming disparity there. And I feel like that's where some of this kind of crap behavior, that's where it's coming from. So, excuse me. I feel that this person kind of had to face that. You know what I mean? It's like they seem to have to realize that they're hold on, this energy of them feeling like they're out of control but they don't know why. I feel like they start to see where it came from. And it's almost like they seem to be able to give themselves some grace here. Warranted, unwarranted, not for me to decide. But I feel like they do give themselves a bit of grace here to understand that, of course, they shouldn't have done what they did and they shouldn't have treated you that way, right? There's no two ways about that. But I feel like this person is able to understand and accept themselves and that that's what they did do. I feel to a certain extent this person may have, for time, wanted to come in and set things right, and it's almost like kind of come in with their head down a little bit and just be like, you know, humbled by the whole experience. I'm not so sure that they do, because I feel like it's a very personal experience for them, or like a very personal transformation sort of thing. I'm not saying that well. It's so personal that they may not have actually spoken to anybody about it, but it's like because they started to see the situation differently and they were no longer it's like if other people compared you to them, that may have got inside their head, and they're not doing that anymore. It's like they're just able to appreciate themselves for who they are and what they can do and what they want, and you for who you are, what you can do, and what you want. And I feel like they just start to see the two of you as different rather than one's better than the other. And I feel like that may be where this kind of transformation, they're just really happy that you're happy, sort of comes from. So, and one card for advice for Virgo. Just making sure nothing else flipped up. So we have the Seven of Cups. Woo! We have the Ten of Wands. So normally the Ten of Wands talks about like working really hard. It's feeling like it's like you know that you're making progress, but the work that you're putting in, it's like it's laying the foundation, right? So you're not actually seeing a whole lot of growth. And I feel like you know that what you're doing right now is you're kind of sorting out what needs to be done. Hold on for a second. And I feel like if any relationship kind of comes into your, realm, let's say, it's like it does seem that like the slightest interference with your goals, or it's like if somebody tries to put their happiness, their responsibility for their happiness on you, it's like you're out, you're done. You know what I mean? You don't want any of that. And I feel like you may for a time, doesn't feel like for forever, you may for a time just kind of like turn away from the whole thing. And I feel like not because you don't believe in love anymore, but because the toxicity that's kind of displays itself, it feels like it's just a big distraction right now. And I feel like, I mean, hold on for a second. It's not that you're turning away from love, but because you're running in a certain direction, it's like that love's going to have to come run along next to you and keep up rather than you running in a different direction and going off. It's like if you're on the straight and narrow, you're not going to take all of these offshoots to try to find somebody because you don't need somebody right now. Doesn't mean you don't want them, but you don't need anybody. And I feel like you actually feel pretty fulfilled within yourself. I do want to say that, hold on for a second. The meaning of this card in this deck is actually that like the power of man meets the power of woman. So let's rephrase that a little bit and say the power of one person meets the power of another person. Because we're humans, right? So with that said, I actually kind of I gotta give it to you here. I feel like you're looking at the situation like you're gonna keep going, you're gonna keep moving, you're gonna keep striving. And I feel like you know that your hard work is going to be rewarded. That it's not like you're gonna work and work and work and work and that's it. I feel like you know that you may be attracting a lot of suitors, and regardless, or of course, depending on what gender you're interested in. But I know suitors can sometimes have a male connotation to it, so I'm not trying to put that on it. You may be attracting a lot of attention, but it's like, whereas before, not that this actually happened, but if before when you got attention, it's like it may have been a little distracting. Well, I don't feel that it is now. It's like, it feels that I feel like you're trusting your gut and you're looking at the situation like when that person comes along, I feel like you're gonna know. And it's like maybe if you don't know right in the instant that you meet them, you'll know when you need to know. And so I feel like right now you're gonna focus on what you're building here. And when it's like you're just gonna kind of store up a lot of that energy for when the right person comes into your life. And I feel like hold on for a second. It just kind of feels like you're holding on to this ideal that you want, where it's like power couple status. But because you're not on the hunt for it, it's like you're kind of putting it in your pocket and you're going to focus on what you're working for here. So I think I'll leave it there, Virgo. If this reading resonated, I hope it was helpful and brought you some clarity. If I forgot to say it at the beginning, private readings are now available. You can email me below in the description box. I will never reach out to anybody and offer a reading and all that stuff. It'll just be really my email. The was going to say the monthly. The mini weekly reads will be out, of course, on Sunday, and then starting Monday will be the singles new love reads. So that's what I have for you today, Virgo. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you on the next one. Much love. Bye.